Welcome to this explainer. Today we're taking a really deep dive into the Hindu temple architect of the infinite. We're going to be unpacking some fascinating historical texts and architectural data to discover exactly how these monumental structures are, well, way more than just stone and mortar. Okay, let's dive right into this. Are temples just places of worship? Because, for a lot of us, we see a mandir and we immediately think of prayer, quiet devotion, maybe some rituals, right? But what if I told you that looking at them merely as places of prayer is really just scratching the surface? The source material actually reveals this completely different, multidimensional reality that spans across science, economics, and even community building. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer as we move from the micro to the macro. Number 1, bridge to the infinite. 2, mathematics of the cosmos. 3, social and economic hubs. 4, north, south, and beyond. And finally, number 5, an enduring global legacy. All right, starting off with section 1, bridge to the infinite, the spiritual core. Before we get into all the advanced science and the broader societal impact, we really have to ground ourselves in the original purpose of these ancient structures, exactly as our source text defines it. The texts define a mandir literally as a consecrated dwelling for deities. So it's not just a large hall where people happen to gather, right? It's specifically built to be the actual home of the divine on earth. It serves as a literal anchor. In our chaotic, fast-paced world, the temple acts as this permanent focal point, a bridge connecting our everyday human experience with the universal essence. And honestly, this is the seed from which all the other incredible functions of the temple actually grow. Section 2, mathematics of the cosmos, the geometric grid. Now, what's really interesting about this is that housing the divine wasn't just some arbitrary process. It required absolute mathematical perfection. Enter the Vastu Purusha Mandala. Consider this a premium GK fact for those of you who love the details. The architects of these temples weren't just creatively stacking stones. They utilized incredibly sophisticated geometric principles and complex mathematical grids. And these acted as precise blueprints that literally mirror the Hindu conception of the entire cosmos. Every single angle, every proportion, every spatial alignment, it's all meticulously calculated. It's just this extraordinary synthesis where ancient, advanced science perfectly serves spiritual devotion. Moving on to section 3, social and economic hubs, more than meets the eye. So once you have this mathematically perfect spiritual core, people naturally gather there, right? And the source data on what this created is just absolutely staggering. These sacred spaces actually evolved into bustling, vibrant civic centers. Because they drew such massive crowds, they organically became the perfect places to safeguard knowledge and literature in huge libraries. They hosted schools to educate the next generation. Our sources even note that some operated as actual hospitals. And to maintain this whole shebang, they employed artisans, administrators, priests, essentially acting as massive economic engines for their regions. They were literally the beating heart of the city's civic infrastructure. Section 4, North, South, and Beyond. Architectural brilliance. Let's move on and see how this all builds together. A cosmic blueprint that powerful, especially one that also runs the local economy, didn't look exactly the same everywhere. It adapted, and that resulted in some of the most striking visual diversity in the ancient world. This is a great comparison point to remember. Up in the north, you have the Nagara architecture, which is really characterized by these soaring mountain-like towers. But compare that to the South Stravidian architecture. That style is famous for its incredibly ornate, intricately carved gateway pyramids, which are known as gopurams. What's amazing is that it's the exact same underlying mathematics and core spiritual intent, just translated into completely different, breathtaking cultural styles. And this completely illustrates how these architectural and cultural models absolutely did not stay confined to just the Indian subcontinent. As trade, culture, and ideas naturally flowed outward, well, so did these structural marvels. The blueprints traveled across oceans. They extended deep into Southeast Asia, inspiring massive historic temple complexes over there. And the crazy thing is that expansion never really stopped. Today, you can see this legacy continuing right into the modern global diaspora, with these beautifully constructed mandirs standing proudly in cities all around the entire world. And finally, Section 5, an enduring global legacy, resilience, and devotion. It's one thing to build something beautiful. It's another thing entirely for that creation to survive the relentless test of time. 2,000. I just want to let the sheer scale of that number sink in for a second. Over 2 millennia. Our sources highlight that these sites have been successfully synthesizing ancient Vedic traditions with diverse cultural expressions for over 2,000 years. Throughout history, despite facing severe periods of historical destruction, immense political shifts, and completely changing eras, the concept of the temple didn't just survive. It adapted. It endured. And that longevity is a truly remarkable testament to their foundational strength. So, the crucial point is that these aren't just static relics of the past sitting behind glass in a museum. Today, they remain absolutely central to Hindu life, functioning exactly as they were originally designed. They provide an incredibly strong anchor for communal worship, while simultaneously offering a quiet space for individual reflection in what is, let's face it, a very noisy world. All the while, they're actively sustaining intricate art forms and daily rituals that, honestly, might otherwise have just been lost to history. And all of this brings us perfectly full circle to this beautiful quote from the source text, a spiritual bridge connecting humanity with the universal essence. When you strip away that massive economic impact, the staggering regional architecture, and the complex cosmic mathematics we talked about, you are left with this simple, profoundly beautiful truth. At its heart, it is a space meticulously designed to connect us with something infinitely greater than ourselves. Which leaves us with a really powerful question to ponder as we wrap up this explainer. How can the ancient synthesis of the sacred, the social, and the scientific inspire the communal spaces that we build today? Like, can we learn from the Vastu Purusha Mandala to create modern hubs that truly feed the mind, the body, and the spirit all at once? Thank you so much for joining me for this deep dive. I really hope this structured look at the source material has shifted your perspective a bit and sparked your curiosity. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep learning.